All right, we're back on the same 2008 Prius with the no cooling problem. In video number 1, I showed you the big leaks down on the condenser that had big spots of oil the size of my hand with years of a dust accumulation on them. That was really obvious. I went through the leak checking procedure trying to diagnose to see, because we know these have a lot of leaky evaporators. I couldn't find that. We got a nice semi-dirty cabin air filter. And so remember the big issue, we were hitting 200 degrees on the discharge of the compressor. So I just filled up the system because the condenser still has to be replaced. This is still the old condenser. As you can see, there's the blockage right there. There's oil and all the dust accumulation. Here is what the sight glass looks like now. So that's what the sight glass looks like. And this is what it looks like with the UV light on it. See how bright that is? It makes a big difference when you have the right dye with the right light. And I feel sorry for you guys who have cheap bosses who buy you cheap garbage little $15 UV lights, and they buy the cheapest UV dye they could get. You're not going to find leaks like that unless they're the size of Niagara Falls. You might as well be pissing in the wind. So let's get back to this. Here's the discharge temperature of our compressor now. You can see from the other video where I showed you the yellow handle right down there. That's where I'm still taking the temperature from. And instead of 200 degrees, it's only 145 degrees now coming out of our evaporator. Other than right now, it's lower than this. It's about 37 degrees. I'm baking my my temperature sensor right there on that. The exhaust manifold, this engine's been running for 20 minutes now. The exhaust manifold is burning hot. I have the hot air from the radiator. Everything is going back. Direct line of sight, 3 inches, 4 inches down below that temperature clamp is the exhaust manifold. So I'm having like 600 degree, 800 degree radiant heat reflecting straight up and projecting right into the plastic, heating up my temperature sensor, giving me a high sensor. When I first clamped my sensor on there, it instantly dropped to 37 degrees, 36 degrees, right around there. And now it has gone up a few degrees because it's taking in so much heat saturation of both convection of the moving hot air going backwards and radiation projecting straight up and striking the plastic and heating it up. But we still could get cold. So it's, I'd say, 3 degrees colder than that. In this scenario, in this situation, sometimes it could be even worse on your radiant heat. And yeah, we're getting cold. That's no problem. That's how it should be. So now I could give a full picture. How about the big picture? Chris, HVAC videos. I can give you the big picture of the whole diagnosis, not just say the condenser. I can tell you for a fact that the expansion valve is working correctly with a full factory quantity of refrigerant that was recommended at 520 grams. I know the compressor is working. It's nice and quiet now. Listen to this. The only thing you can hear is the fan. The compressor is running, but the compressor is so quiet, it barely has to run because it has a full refrigerant charge. It moves that weight of refrigerant, the mass of refrigerant, passing the metering device, filling the evaporator. It's there, and it's doing its work, and it's satisfying the call for cooling, and it can meter itself down. So the compressor keeps spinning slower and slower and slower. It's a variable, you could say variable displacement, variable speed. This is a variable speed compressor. And so since it can cool itself, the compressor continuously keeps slowing down to the point where it just barely moves enough to get that mass of refrigerant past your metering device to obtain the cooling that's going after. And that's why you can't hear the compressor no more. If I disconnected the fan, you probably almost would hear nothing. The ambient noise around me would be louder. That is a properly operating Prius. All right, guys, see you on the next one. And I lost contact with my, oh no, there it goes. Yeah, 140 degrees discharge temperature coming out of the compressor. A big difference from 200 degrees. And imagine if it was 80, 90, 100 degrees outside, he'd easily be approaching the 250, 300 degree mark, and that's outside of the compressor. The internal temperature of the compressor would be 50 to 75 degrees higher than what you measure outside. All right, see you guys later. Bye.